She faked a positive pregnancy test for April Fools. I cried tears of joy. She laughed. "You're so gullible. It's just a prank." I wiped my tears and said, "Good one." Then I took the engagement ring back and said, "This is a prank too." I walked out and blocked her everywhere. 3 days later, she showed up at my workplace begging. My fiancée thought shattering my heart for clout was funny. Now she's learning that my financial support was never a joke. I, 34 have always been a man who values straight shooting. I work as a site superintendent for large-scale commercial construction projects. My job isn't glamorous. It's about logistics, safety, concrete, and steel. It's about making sure things are built on a solid foundation. If the foundation is cracked, you don't paint over it. You tear it down and start over. I apply that same logic to my life. I've been with Jenna, 29F, for 3 years, engaged for 6 months. I'll be honest, the relationship was good on paper, but looking back, there were signs of her need for attention that I managed rather than addressed. She worked, part-time as a lifestyle consultant, which mostly meant posting brunch photos and trying to get brand deals, but her main focus was always her social presence. She wasn't a huge influencer, just someone addicted to the dopamine hit of likes and comments. I tolerated it because she usually kept me out of it. I told her early on, "I don't do pranks and I don't do public drama. Keep me off the feed." She agreed, or so I thought. We had been talking about starting a family. I'm established, I own my home, bought it 5 years ago, way before I met her, and I have a solid savings account. I was ready. She knew this. She knew being a father was the one thing I wanted more than anything. My own dad passed away 2 years ago, and since then, the idea of carrying on the family line has been heavy on my mind. Jenna knew all of this. She knew the grief I carried and the hope I had. That brings us to April 1st. I came home after a 12-hour shift. I was covered in dust, exhausted, and just wanted a shower and a steak. Jenna was in the kitchen. The lighting was weirdly bright. She had her ring light set up, but she tried to play it off like she was just filming a smoothie recipe. She turned to me, eyes wide, hands shaking. "Babe," she said, voice trembling. I need you to look at this." She handed me a pregnancy test. 2 lines. The fatigue vanished instantly. It was like a jolt of electricity hit my spine. I stared at that little plastic stick and my brain just rebooted. A baby. We were going to have a baby. The stress of the job, the late nights, the grind, it all suddenly felt worth it. I dropped to my knees right there on the kitchen tile. I'm not a guy who cries often. I didn't cry when I broke my leg on a job site. I didn't cry when my truck got totaled. But looking at that test, I felt hot tears running down my face. I looked up at her, smiling through the blur, ready to hug her, ready to promise her that I'd take care of everything, that she wouldn't have to worry about a thing. "We're having a baby?" I choked out, my voice thick with emotion. "Jenna, this is the best news. I'm going to be a dad." I reached for her waist, burying my face in her stomach, and then she started laughing. Not a happy, relieved laugh, a cackle. She stepped back, pointed a finger at me, and I noticed her other hand moving a phone she'd hidden behind a cereal box. "Oh my God, look at your face," she shrieked. "You are so gullible. Look at the tears. Oh, this is gold." She snatched the test from my hand. "It's fake, babe. Amazon. It's April Fools. You should see yourself. You look like a kicked puppy." I froze. I was still on my knees. The joy that had filled my chest a second ago turned into something cold and heavy, like wet concrete setting in my veins. I watched her laughing, checking the phone screen to make sure she got the angle right. She was zooming in on my face, on my tears, on my vulnerability. "Say hi to the vlog," she beamed, shoving the camera lens inches from my nose. "Pranked. We got him so good. Look at him, he's speechless." I stood up slowly. I wiped my face with the back of my dirty hand, smearing dust and tears. The silence in the room was deafening, at least to me. She was still giggling, waiting for me to laugh along, waiting for the good sport reaction she could edit into a heartwarming resolve. She wanted the "aw, you got me" moment. "It's a prank?" I asked. My voice was flat, dead calm. "Yes, obviously." She rolled her eyes playfully. "Don't be mad, it was just too easy. You wanted a baby so bad, I knew you'd fall for it." She used my deepest desire, my grief for my father, my hope for a child, as a punchline. That was the moment. That was the crack in the foundation. I looked at the woman I was planning to marry, and I realized I didn't know her at all. Or rather, I finally saw exactly who she was. She wasn't my partner. She was a content creator, and I was just a prop. Good one, I said. She smiled, relieved. Right? Okay, let me check the footage. This is gonna get so many views. I bet we can get a brand deal for diapers out of this later if we spin it right. Jenna, I said. She looked up from her phone. Yeah? Let me see the ring. She looked confused but held out her hand. Why, is it dirty? I just got it cleaned. Just let me see it. I took her hand, slid the 2-carat diamond ring off her finger. I had spent 6 months saving for that ring. I picked it out specifically because she loved the cut. I paid cash for it. I put the ring in my pocket. Hey, she laughed nervously, reaching for my pocket. What are you doing? Give it back, that's mine. I looked her dead in the eye. This is a prank too. Her smile faltered. What? What do you mean? The engagement, I said. It's a prank, just like the baby. It's not real. Mike, stop, she said, her voice getting shrill. That's not funny. Give me my ring. You're scaring me. It's not your ring, I corrected her. It's my ring. It was a conditional gift for my fiancée. You aren't that anymore. I walked past her to the bedroom. I grabbed my duffel bag, the one I keep packed for emergency site visits. I threw in a week's worth of clothes. She followed me, recording at first, then dropping the phone when she realized I wasn't slowing down. Mike, are you serious? You're overreacting. It was a joke. God, why are you being so sensitive? It's April Fool's. I didn't say a word. I walked to the front door. If you walk out that door, she screamed, shifting into manipulation mode, the same tone she used when I didn't want to go to her influencer parties. Don't bother coming back. You're being a baby. You can't take a joke. I opened the door. That's the point, Jenna. There is no baby. There never will be. Not with you. I slammed the door, got in my truck, and drove away. I pulled over 2 blocks later, my hands shaking on the wheel. I didn't cry again. I just felt done. I took out my phone, block on Instagram, block on TikTok, block on Facebook, block on WhatsApp, block number. Then I called my bank. Update 1. The silence, the scramble, and the hostage situation. I spent that night at a hotel near my job site. I didn't drink. I didn't wallow. I sat at the desk with my laptop and assessed the damage. I treated this like a project gone wrong. Identify hazards, mitigate risks, execute shutdown. Here is the financial situation. The house, I bought it 5 years ago. My name is on the deed. My name is on the mortgage. She moved in 2 years ago. We have a cohabitation agreement. Thank God for my lawyer brother who insisted on this. It states clearly that she pays a flat rate for rent/utilities and acquires no equity in the property. She hasn't paid her share in 3 months, but I let it slide because weddings are expensive. The car. She drives a 2022 SUV. It's leased in my name because her credit was shot when we met. I pay the lease. She is supposed to pay me back half. She is usually 2 months behind. The cards. She is an authorized user on my Amex for household emergencies. I logged into the Amex app. Pending charges from that day. $45.99. Joke shop. The fake tests. $1,200. Best Buy. A new vlogging camera lens. $200. Sephora makeup for the video. $150 Party City balloons for a fake pregnancy reveal. She used my money to buy the props to humiliate me. She literally charged me for the privilege of breaking my heart. I called the bank immediately. I need to remove an authorized user. The card is compromised. The agent explained I was liable for the charges since she was authorized. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. I understand the liability. Cancel the card entirely. Issue a new number. I don't care about the $1,500 pending. I care about the zero she spends tomorrow. Card dead. I then transferred my share of the joint bill account, which I put 80% of the money into, back to my personal savings. I left exactly enough to cover the electricity and water for the month because I'm not a monster who shuts off the lights illegally. But the grocery fund, the fund money, the Sephora fund, gone. The next morning, day 2, I realized I had made a tactical error. In my rush to leave, I left my fireproof safe in the home office. Inside, my passport, my birth certificate, and my grandfather's gold watch, an heirloom I planned to wear at the wedding. I drove back to the house at 10 a.m. I used my key. The deadbolt was thrown from the inside. She had chained the door. Jenna, I yelled. Open the door. I need my documents. She came to the window, phone in hand, filming. You abandoned me. You don't get to come in. This is my house too. It is not. Open the door or I call the police. Call them, she screamed. I'll tell them you're threatening me. I called the police non-emergency line. They sent a patrol car. The officer explained that since she established residency, I couldn't force entry without a court order if she claimed she felt unsafe, even if it was my house. He advised me to go through civil court to avoid a domestic disturbance arrest. Officer, my passport and heirlooms are in there, I said. Civil matter, sir, unless you want to break the door down and go to jail today. I looked at Jenna in the window, smirking. She knew she had leverage. Fine, I said loud enough for her camera. You have 30 days. The eviction notice is being filed today. Don't destroy anything. I left. I went straight to my brother's office. We drafted the notice. Termination of tenancy. 30 days. She's gonna make this hell, my brother warned. I know, I said, but I have the one thing she doesn't: patience. For the next week, she tried to smoke me out. My phone was blocked, but my work email started pinging. Subject: please stop ignoring me. You're taking this too far. I'm sorry, okay? Come home. My card got declined at Starbucks? WTF, Mike? I can't buy groceries. You're starving me. I didn't reply. I printed them all out. Starving her? The fridge was full. I went grocery shopping 2 days ago. She was just mad she couldn't buy her $18 salads. Then the sabotage started. I checked my utility app. The smart thermostat in the house was set to 50 degrees. In April, she was trying to freeze out the AC unit and skyrocket my electric bill. I used the admin override on my phone to lock the thermostat to a range of 70 to 74 degrees. 10 minutes later, I got an email. Subject: why is the AC off? You're abusing me with heat. I ignored it. She ordered $200 worth of sushi on DoorDash using an old saved card on the shared iPad. I got the notification. I called DoorDash, reported the unauthorized use, and canceled that card too. She was running out of my money, and she was getting desperate. Update 2. The gate scene and the flying monkeys on day 10. She escalated. I was in the site trailer going over blueprints with my foreman when the security guard radioed me. Hey boss, there's a lady here at the gate. Says she's your wife. She's, making a scene. I sighed. I'm not married, Dave. Is it a blonde in a white SUV? Yeah. She's trying to film the gate guard, saying we're holding you hostage. Don't let her in, I'm coming down. I put on my hard hat and safety vest. I didn't want to do this, but I knew it had to happen. I saw her through the chain link fence. She was holding her phone up, live streaming or recording. She was wearing sad girl clothes, baggy sweatshirt, no makeup, or no makeup. When she saw me, she lowered the phone slightly, putting on a tragic face. Mike, oh thank God, baby please you have to talk to me, this is insane. I stayed on my side of the gate. Turn the camera off, Jenna. It's off. I just want to talk. The red recording light was clearly on. You have 30 seconds, I said. You blocked me everywhere. You cut off my card. I couldn't even buy gas to get here. You're driving the car I pay for, I said calmly, using gas I paid for last week. You wanted to be independent and funny? Be independent. It was a prank, she screamed, dropping the sad act. You are ruining our relationship over a stupid joke. Everyone thinks you're being a toxic narcissist for reacting like this. Everyone? I asked. You posted it? I posted a teaser. To get support, because you abandoned me. My followers are worried sick. They think you're hurting me. Go home, Jenna. You have 20 days left to vacate. Check your email. I sent you the digital copy of the lease termination. You can't kick me out. I have rights. Read the cohabitation agreement. Article 4, Section 2. Termination of relationship grants 30 days notice. You signed it? And since you haven't paid your rent in 3 months, technically, I could do 3 days for non-payment, but I'm being generous. I'm not leaving, she screeched, and I want my ring back. That was a gift. You stole it? It was a conditional gift. No marriage. No ring. That's the law. Look it up, or ask your followers. I'm sure the legal scholars on TikTok know the score. What about the watch, she hissed, leaning closer to the fence so the guard wouldn't hear. The gold one? Maybe I sell that to pay my rent. My blood ran cold. She confirmed she had it. If you sell that watch, I said, my voice dropping an octave, I will have you arrested for grand larceny. It is listed on my insurance policy. It is an heirloom. Don't test me. She smirked. Then come home and talk to me. No. Dave? I turned to the guard. She's trespassing. If she's not gone in 2 minutes, call the cops. I walked away. I heard her screaming my name, screaming that I was abusive, or screaming that I was a simp, ironic for listening to my brother. I went back to the trailer. My hands were shaking, not from fear, but from rage. She was holding my grandfather's watch hostage. The next week was a masterclass in what happens when you disturb a narcissist's nest. Jenna didn't just go quietly, she unleashed the horde. Her mother, her sister, and her bestie, another wannabe influencer, all decided I was public enemy number one. First came the texts from unknown numbers. From her mom. Michael, I am disgusted. You left my daughter destitute because she tried to make you laugh? You have no sense of humor and no heart. Be a man and go home. She is crying her eyes out and threatening to sell your precious watch. You deserve it. From her sister. Give her the ring back, you thief. We're calling the police. You can't just steal jewelry. I didn't respond. I forwarded the theft accusations to my lawyer, my brother. Then came the video. Jenna posted the full prank on TikTok, but it was heavily edited. She cut the part where I cried tears of joy. She cut the part where she mocked me. She only showed me taking the ring and saying, "This is a prank too," and walking out. She added sad piano music. Her caption was, "My toxic ex-fiancé abused me financially and left me homeless because of an April Fool's joke. I'm so scared, guys. He kept the ring too. #narcissist survivor abuse." It got about 50K views in an hour. The comments were calling for my head. Find this guy, get him fired, call his job, the usual mob mentality. My boss called me into his office the next morning. He looked worried. "Mike, corporate got an email. Several emails. Someone sent them a TikTok. They're saying you abused a woman. They're threatening to boycott our company if we employ abusers. They even found the company LinkedIn." I pulled out my phone. I anticipated this. Do you want to see the unedited video? Or hear the audio I recorded at the gate? I had a security camera in my kitchen. Jenna knew about it. I installed it when we had a break-in scare last year. She evidently forgot about it, or thought I wouldn't check the cloud backup. I showed my boss the footage from April 1st. Timestamp 6:05 p.m. Me entering. Me on my knees crying, thanking God. Timestamp. Jenna pointing and laughing, calling me a sucker and pathetic for crying. Look at him, he looks like a kicked puppy. Timestamp 6:11 p.m. Me calmly taking the ring and leaving. No yelling, no hitting. My boss, a 60-year-old grandfather who takes no nonsense, watched it stone-faced. He watched her mock a man crying over his unborn child. "Jesus," he muttered, "she's something else." "She's lying about the abuse," I said. I ended the engagement. I followed the lease agreement. "She's mad the ATM stopped spitting out cash." "You're good, Mike," he said, handing my phone back. "Corporate asks, I'll tell them it's a domestic dispute and she's malicious. Keep doing your job. And hey, sorry about the baby thing. That's rough." "Thanks, boss." I went home to my brother's house. I decided it was time to clear the air. I didn't post the video publicly. I'm not her. I don't air dirty laundry for strangers. Instead, I sent the unedited clip to her mother and her sister. I added a simple text. "This is what you're defending. Watch the whole thing. She mocked me for crying about wanting a family. If she doesn't take down the defamatory posts about me abusing her by tomorrow, I will sue her for defamation and I will release this footage to prove it. The ball is in your court." Radio silence for 2 hours. Then, the TikTok video vanished. Her Instagram went private. Her mom texted back, "We didn't know she said those things to you. We'll handle it. Please don't post that. It would ruin her career." Career. Right. They knew. They just didn't think I had receipts. They thought I was the stoic, silent type who would just take the beating. They forgot that on a construction site, if you don't document, you die. Update 3. The eviction, the cop, and the watch. The 30 days were up yesterday. I didn't trust her to leave peacefully. I hired professional movers to pack her stuff. I wasn't going to touch it. I wanted a third-party inventory. I didn't want her claiming I broke her vintage thrift store lamps. When I arrived at the house with the movers and a police escort, civil standby, best $100 you can spend, the house was a mess. Not trashed, just neglected. Dishes in the sink from weeks ago. Trash overflowing. It smelled like stale wine and desperation. Jenna was sitting on the couch, looking much less glamorous than her Instagram photos. She looked tired. "You brought cops?" she sneered. "I brought witnesses," I said. You have 2 hours to supervise the movers, or they will pack everything for you. Where am I supposed to go, Mike? My credit is ruined because you stopped paying the lease. You stopped paying the lease, I corrected. It's in my name, but the payments are your responsibility per our agreement. I returned the car to the dealership yesterday. I paid the early termination fee myself, just to get it out of my life. You're welcome. She went pale. You gave back the car? How am I supposed to get to my interviews? Uber works. Or the bus. She started crying. Real tears this time. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I messed up. I just wanted to be funny. I didn't mean to hurt you. I miss you, Mike. I miss us. Can't we just start over? I'll delete all my social media, I promise. I looked at her. I really looked at her. I remembered the feeling of my knees hitting the floor when I thought I was going to be a dad. I remembered the cruelty in her laugh. Jenna, I said, you didn't want a baby. You wanted a viral moment. You didn't want a husband. You wanted a prop. I'm not a prop. I'm a man who wanted a family. I can give you a family, she sobbed, reaching for my hand. I stepped back. No. You can't, because I would never trust you with a child. Imagine if our kid fell down and got hurt. Would you help them, or would you grab your camera first? She flinched like I'd slapped her. She knew the answer. She knew that in her heart, the content always came first. She gathered her things. The movers were efficient. By 4 p.m. the house was empty of her presence. As she was loading the last box into her friend's car, the bestie who refused to make eye contact with me, she turned around. You're going to be lonely, she spat. You're boring, Mike. You're just a boring construction guy. I made you interesting. I like boring, I said. Boring is stable. Boring is honest. Have a nice life, Jenna. I went inside immediately. The house felt empty but not sad. It felt lighter. I went straight to the safe in the office. It was open. My passport was there. My birth certificate was there. The watch was gone. I knew it. She had threatened it at the gate. I walked back out to the driveway. They were just starting the car. Officer, I yelled, waving my hand. Hold them. The cop, who was about to get into his cruiser, stepped in front of the friend's car and held up his hand. I walked up to the passenger window. Jenna looked terrified. The watch, I said. Where is it? I don't know what you're talking about, she said, staring straight ahead. My grandfather's gold watch. It was in the safe. You admitted at the gate you were going to sell it. It's missing. I didn't take it. Maybe you lost it. I turned to the cop. Officer, I'd like to file a report for grand larceny. I have a time-stamped inventory of the safe from before the breakup. The watch is missing. She's the only other person with the code. And I have a witness, my security guard, who heard her threaten to sell it 20 days ago. The cop walked around to the driver's side. Ma'am, he said to the friend, turn off the engine. If there is stolen property in this vehicle, you are an accessory. Jenna's friend looked panicked. Nessa, are you serious? Do you have it? No, Jenna screamed. He's lying. Okay, the cop said. Step out of the vehicle, both of you. We're going to wait for a warrant to search the car, or you can consent now. If we find it with a warrant, you're both going to jail. The friend broke immediately. Nessa, give it to him. I am not going to jail for your prank. Jenna glared at me with pure, unadulterated hatred. She reached into her bra, not her purse, and pulled out the watch. She threw it out the window. It hit the pavement with a sickening crunch. There, she screamed. Take your stupid trash. I picked it up. The glass face was shattered. The gold casing was scratched deep, but the hands were still moving. Property damage, the cop noted, writing in his notebook. You want to press charges? I looked at the watch. It could be fixed. I looked at her. She was a mess. No job, no car, no fiancé, living on a friend's couch, reputation in the gutter. No, I said, I want her off my property, forever. If she comes back, I'll press charges then. The cop nodded. You heard him? Move along. They drove off. I stood there holding the broken watch, feeling absolutely victorious. Final update. 6 months later. Life is quiet. I spent a few thousand fixing the scratches she left on the hardwood floors. I spent $800 getting the watch restored. It looks brand new now. I met someone new. Her name is Elena. She works in logistics for a shipping company. We met when I was screaming at a vendor about a late steel delivery, and she was the one on the other end who calmly talked me down and fixed the problem in 10 minutes. We went out for coffee. I told her the story about Jenna on the third date because I didn't want any secrets. I expected her to be shocked. Instead, she just nodded. My ex-husband gambled away our savings, she said. Trust is the currency, Mike. Once it's spent, you can't print more. She gets it. She pays for her own coffee sometimes. She doesn't have TikTok. We cook dinner and talk about our days without checking lighting angles. It's peaceful. As for Jenna, I heard from a mutual friend that she tried to pivot her social media to a comeback story about rebuilding her life. It didn't take. The internet never forgets, and someone leaked the unedited video. Not me. Maybe her sister got tired of her lies? She was roasted. She sent me an email last week. It bypassed the spam filter. Subject: I'm pregnant for real. Body: I know you probably won't believe me, but I am. It's yours. I did the math. Please call me. I need support. I stared at the screen. My heart did a little jump, just out of instinct. Then I looked at the calendar. We broke up April 1st. It is now October. That's 6 months. If she was pregnant with my child, she would have to have conceived before April 1st. I checked my calendar. We hadn't been intimate since late January. Valentine's Day was a bust because she was bloated, and March was crazy with work. If she conceived in late January, she would be nearly 9 months pregnant right now. She would be due any day. She wouldn't be sending an email saying I'm pregnant. She would be sending a picture of a massive baby bump. She would be asking for hospital fees. If she is just finding out she's pregnant now, or is early along, it's physically impossible for it to be mine. The math isn't just off. It's impossible. I forwarded the email to my lawyer brother. He replied in 5 minutes. Don't respond. If she pursues paternity, we demand a DNA test. 99% chance she's fishing for a reaction or money. Ignore. I deleted the email. I looked over at Elena, who was helping me cook dinner in my clean, peaceful kitchen. No cameras, no ring lights, just the smell of garlic and the sound of jazz playing softly. Everything okay? She asked, seeing my face. Yeah, I said, putting the phone down. Just a spam email, nothing important. I went over and hugged her. I'm not a dad yet, but I will be one day. And when I am, it won't be a prank. It will be the most real thing in the world, with a woman who understands that some things are sacred. For anyone wondering, if your partner thinks your pain is content, they don't love you. They love the audience. Don't wait for the April Fool's joke to figure it out. The foundation was cracked. I tore it down. Now I'm rebuilding, and this time, the concrete is solid.